What's up, guys? Welcome back to The Vitals, True Nurse Life Stories, the pod about stories of our heroic frontline nurses in the COVID-19 era. Today, we are taking an in-depth look at our responders' journey by asking questions as she share her daily realities, challenges, and successes in a time of disaster crisis. And to welcome our guest speaker is Karen Guzman. She is currently working as an ICU nurse at St. Stephen's Hospital in Sydney, Australia.
Hi, so I'm Karen, who's working in Australia in St. Vincent's Hospital. For our first question,
can you describe to us your role or roles that you played in response to a specific disaster or emergency, may it be in the pandemic or your previous experience?
Of course, during the pandemic, it was only during Delta and Omicron that we had to have another ICU. So it was really tough for me, especially because I was a team leader at that stage. So we had to transfer most of our non-COVID patients to the other ICU, which was a recovery unit at that stage. So we had to convert that into an ICU, which is quite difficult because we need more mechanical ventilators because I work in ICU. And then after that surge, we transferred most of our COVID patients to our regular ICU. Of course, the whole ICU became like a COVID unit. So that was one of the roles that I played during the COVID.
Nurses' resilience is truly commendable. It is what helps us bounce back through challenging times like the pandemic. Moving on, for our second question.
As a nurse frontline, what unforgettable experience can you share with us that made you feel proud of yourself while caring for a patient or anything during this pandemic?
So I can say that even during the pandemic, even when we were wearing all this PPE, it was really hot. It was difficult to breathe at that time, but we still, me and the rest of the team, we still tried to show our compassion to our patients because some of them were still talking. And of course, it will be a really scary thing for them to see people who are wearing all those full PPE. They can't see our faces. So at that stage, we had to place our name in one of those stickers just in our eye cover. So what do you call it? Face shield, right? So those face shield, and then sometimes I would write a smile. So I think I am very proud of our team because we were very compassionate. We were still showing them how we care for them and it's going to be alright. Even if we knew that this patient would end up getting through them. Yeah.
Compassion through action, a driver of change. Now, for our third question.
As you mentioned, the pandemic hits the healthcare system and healthcare workers. In response to that, can you describe a time when you faced an unexpected challenge at work during the pandemic, and what did you do to handle the situation?
So I guess the unexpected challenge was during the start of COVID, we all didn't know what's going to happen next. We were just looking at what's happening in other countries. At the start of it, we were just just airborne precaution, and then as we go on, we were knowing more about this virus because we all didn't know what was there. So I think that was a very unexpected challenge for all of us. And of course, during the start of COVID, we were all unvaccinated. So it's we all didn't know what's going to happen, but we all just tried to push on. And I guess that's one of those at the first stage of COVID that it was a bit scary as well because we didn't know what that was, what's going to happen. So yeah.
Yes, you are definitely right. As nurses, we always rise to difficulties. And on to the next question.
Nurses' mental health is a topic frequently raised during this pandemic. Can you tell us more about your insights on this topic? And how do you think the nurses are coping with stress and burnout amid the COVID-19 crisis?
Yeah, so it's a bit, it was really stressful for me because normally I would go home in the Philippines like 2 or 3 times a year. But during this time, during that time, I mean, like, all of the borders were shut. But, I guess what was a bit reassuring to me is that, it's not just me who was experiencing it, it's actually the entire world was experiencing it. Through that, I guess more people are relatable, like, they know what I was going through, so it's not just me. So that was a bit reassuring. And also, yes, we have this technology now that we can FaceTime our friends and family. So yeah, and then I think I just noticed that I was listening more to my body. Like, if I'm tired, I'll just like just have a bit of a rest, listen to my body if I'm really burnt out. Because during those times, we were always called for an overtime. But so if I can't, I wouldn't push myself, and I would just like prioritize my mental health. So yeah.
I could not agree more. Work is important, but prioritizing our mental health is not only prioritizing ourselves, but our patients as well. And now, for our last question. Is the government providing support during the pandemic to compensate for the medical professionals' hard work? If yes, are these enough? What advice do you have for future medical professionals who are losing hope and drive as a result of the administration's treatment towards the frontliners?
What happened was that so the government decided to ask all of the elective surgeries to stop, so that most of the resources, we got the anesthetic nurses and recovery nurses to work with us in ICU because of the surge of the patients. So I guess that's how the government helped us in a way that we were able to survive the pandemic because we had extra support that time. And also, they've given us like more funding when it comes to like education, because we were getting all this like new staff. Like, of course, they have no idea on how to take care of patients ventilated and so forth. But so they got more educators to help us for them to know more about taking care of critically ill patients. And I guess my advice would be, for those of you who would want to be in this role, I guess because I've noticed that other nurses as well quit during this time of the pandemic. But I would suggest that, if you're really compassionate with this role, for them to know why are they here in the first place. What's the real purpose of you being in this role? So like think deeper on what's the purpose of this all. And I guess that was like my driving force during that stage. But I think most nurses, most of the frontliners, what's really keeping them in line with this is that the passion of working towards helping other people. So yeah.
It is truly inspiring. We just wanted to say that we are honored to listen to your stories, and we hope that through this podcast, we also inspire other student nurses out there. So until next time, once again, this is The Vitals.